But I think if there are four primary qualities that help you to be successful as a team member, but as a leader. There are four things, and this is not very creative. I call them the 4 Ps, which, that's not, I need to think of something a little bit more. But anyway, 4 Ps. Number one, I think to do really well leading a team is that you have to have purpose. You have to have a plan. And I know that sounds really simple. I know that sounds simple, that you got to have goals. I think that is one of the hardest things to do. And I think one of the things that I have found out in the years of coaching, leading coaches, leading student athletes, is that very few of us know how to write goals, how to develop them. One of the things that happens with athletic teams is you get in the locker room before the year starts and says, okay, what are our goals this year? We want to win the championship. That's cool. Now, you're 18, 19 years old, and you've got 6 months of competition ahead of you, and your goal is to win the championship. That's too big of a goal. That doesn't work. And then what happens is the burden of that goal becomes so overwhelming that you freeze. You don't take steps. So part of learning how to set goals is to break them down into short-term, medium, and long-term. And then the most important thing of this whole process is learning how to develop strategies to have success in reaching short-term goals. That's like losing weight. I had put on about 15, 20 pounds, and so, okay, how am I going to do this? And it's little simple things every day that leads up to the 15 pounds. And we forget that because we concentrate on the 15 pounds. And you can't do that. So setting goals, it's very, very important. That's a learning process, and takes time and direction to do that. The second P is, and I really believe in this, is in order to be successful, and I spoke about this a while ago, you got to have passion. And when I'm really talking about passion more than anything, is I'm talking about your work ethic, your level of dedication, your discipline. And if I could give one, what do we call it, motto, but just one goal, work ethic goal that I would give my teams is that if this is our first team meeting and we're in the locker room, what I'm going to tell you the first day that my expectations of you as a student athlete is that I want you to run as hard and as far as you can run. And then I want you to walk as hard and as far as you can walk. And then I want you to crawl as hard and as far as you can crawl. And then I want you to get up and run again. Now, I know that sounds a little macho, but I really, really believe in it. And the people that do really well are the people that outwork others, that do the extra stuff, that spend the extra time. And no matter how tired you are and everything, you can pick up, no matter what is thrown at you, you keep going. Now, in the middle of all this, there's got to be some life balance. And quite honestly, and Ann knows this, I am the worst person to talk to about life balance. But it needs to be there. And as a leader, if you don't show some of that or give the opportunity for your staff to show that, then you'll eventually crumble. But with that life balance, I really believe in this level of passion and dedication. The third P is positive self-expectancy. And I know that sounds really fancy. Positive self-expectancy. And it just means that winners expect to win. It means that you have faith, that you believe. I don't know if you've ever worked with a group before. In coaching, I've actually had teams before that when I walk in the locker room, when I first started at Texas A&M, the program was really, really bad. When I was coaching the women's team there, it was really bad. I mean, we were bad. And so the first time I walked in the dressing room with that group of kids, their attitude was, I wanted not, let's go win the game, we're gonna do good tonight. They would literally sit in the locker room and say, well, I wonder how bad we'll get beat tonight. Jeez. Okay, well, we might as well not even go out there. This was the same group that in November had already made ski reservations to take a big trip as a team to Colorado during the same week that the postseason tournament was going to be held for themselves. And at that time, you had to finish in the top 6 in order to go to the tournament. But still, I'm thinking, I think we've already checked this off, and we haven't even started the season. Winners expect to win. I mean, and you have to believe. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. And the thing about faith is, faith just doesn't happen because you sit around and, I believe. Faith is based on action. That you are prepared and that you have put in the time and effort to be ready to go. That's how you develop faith. You know, I really believe in God, and I, in no way do I want to be insulting to anyone here. This is just my reflection. I really believe, but I also know that God is an entity that expects action from us. I do not believe that I can sit in a room and pray and please let this happen. And when it comes, I'll be ready. Baloney. Get your tail out there and work. Okay, you got to create it. And by doing that, that increases your faith and you're prepared to move on. The last P is positive self-concept. Positive self-concept. And this just means having confidence, self-esteem. Having confidence and self-esteem. You know, like this morning, this is a really bad hair day, ladies. I don't know. I did get up and fix my hair, and then I walked outside and it just, boom, you know. But if you looked in the mirror every day, you know, you gotta look in the mirror and say, hey, baby, we're gonna get up today. You know, if you look in the mirror and go, oh my God, my hair, my nose, I have a bad nose. Then, you know, if you don't feel good about yourself, how in the world are you going to lead a group of people and expect them to follow you if you're all going, I just don't know if I can do this, and it's just really hard. They don't want to hear that. And they may, some of your team will give you sympathy and they'll jump on that because they're waiting for you to fall anyway. And you just set yourself up. Now, so you got to be a little cocky, and you got to balance it. You know, you don't want to be a smart aleck, but you've got to carry yourself a certain way. And I think that you can be a very confident person, and you can be a great leader, and at the same time you can admit, hey, I don't know enough about this. Let's learn this. Can you help me? Or I made a mistake. But I don't think that's a lack of confidence. I think that's just being smart and honest. Mike Sherman, who just got fired from the football job at A&M, we got a copy. Matter of fact, and I need to send it to you because it's really good. We got a copy. His daughter works for us in the athletic department. We got a copy of the last letter that he sent out to all the high school coaches in the state of Texas to say goodbye. He's now taking he's going to be an offensive coordinator for one of the pro teams. Is it Tampa Bay? I don't know. Or the Dolphins? I can't remember. But anyway, he sent this letter out, and he was really supporting A&M and, you know, keep the program going and the whole bit. But he said, you know, there's two things I always tell my team at the beginning of the year, that in order for us to be successful as a team, we got to do two things. Number one, we got to be extremely honest with each other. Extremely honest. We've got to tell the truth. We cannot lie. We cannot fudge. And he said the second thing is, we got to really love each other. Now, this is a football coach. And believe me, with some of the staff members that you work with, some of the student athletes, and occasionally a coach that I work with, I call them knuckleheads. We got some kids that are just absolute knuckleheads. But last night, sitting at the game and listening to their parents yell at our coach, I thought, no wonder they're knuckleheads. Their parents are knuckleheads. But, you know, but I love that knucklehead. I love him to death. I just want to kick him in the tail every once in a while. But you got to have that kind of feeling. So to be positive, self-confident. I think the other thing is, as you're building your teams, that you don't want to build, you want to build it on really good principles. And Covey has a lot of really good books. And he talks about building on good principles, not practices. You don't want to just read stuff about how to dress, you know, how to close your talk and all that. You want to build your team on honesty, patience, courage, being modest, knowing how to encourage others. You've got to be good communicators. And being a good communicator doesn't mean that you stand up and give speeches all the time. There'll be some of you that your style is not to say a whole lot, but you're very, very good listeners. And then to be a good communicator, you got to be a very good delegator. The worst thing that you can do to a good team, and this has been really, really hard for me to learn, because I'm bossy, and I was raised by a very bossy mother who ran the family. My dad was great, but my mom ran everything. And but learning how to delegate. If you have a really good team, but yet you're trying to do everything, and you're trying to oversee every little detail, or you give them a task and then you change everything they did once you gave it to them, especially when it didn't really matter, so they made a mistake, it really didn't blow your deal, then you have just destroyed your team. You know, what we try to do with our student athletes a lot is we want them to feel like it's a little bit of a democracy, and it's not. But there are certain tasks and decisions that you allow them to make so that they feel that we're being inclusive and they're kind of setting the tone. We have to be very careful because we need to lead them in a certain direction, but you can do that and they feel really good. Oh, ooh, this is my decision, or I got to do this. So you've got to learn how to handle that. The other thing about really good leaders are that you have to be multitaskers. You have to be able to handle a number of things at one time. And gentlemen, I'm not going to slam you, but ladies, we're a lot better at this than men are. I'm just sorry. My husband can do one thing, and then while he's doing that one, I've done 15. You know, and that's just kind of. But there is actually a story in Proverbs. The story of the first multitasker in the world is a lady in Proverbs, and it talks about her having her own business in the village, mentoring the other young women in the village, and taking care of her family. We were created to do this. We were not created to be single-task human beings. We were created to be multitaskers. So you've got to learn how to handle that. My daughter's going through an educational, it's called the Master of Arts of Teaching at Trinity. It's a one-year program where you get your teacher certification and your master's in 1 year, so it's very intense. So she's in a school all year long as a student teacher, and then at night they go to grad school, so it's a lot. But she said, Mom, it's been unbelievable how my athletic experience of being able to handle athletics, going to school, and all that has relieved the stress on me. She said, a lot of the people I'm working with, they can't do all this stuff. There's been 2 or 3 kids that have dropped out and everything because they just can't.